Hello, let's see if this works now. Hello, let's see if this works now. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're all good. Just gonna make sure I'm not gonna start the commentary proper until everybody is in, so wait until the race starts and then I'll talk again. So just waiting for a couple of people to join. Normally we start at 8 o'clock exactly. We've only got 2 minutes to 8. And we're still waiting for a couple of people. I'm sure that Dark Inferno will be sending out some notifications and kind of pinging everybody to try and join. So I believe we're waiting for, well, at one point we were waiting for Tolop 012 and Pudnik, and I believe that is, Pudnik has just joined, and that is our 20th driver. It's not Tolop 012, it's actually J&G. If you remember, he was the driver, I think he made his VFL debut all the way back in Austria a couple of rounds ago. I think Austria was actually round 6. And that race was absolutely cast. Unfortunately, kind of everything went wrong, if you remember, with Austria. And then, I think it was last race actually, was that fateful Portimao race in which everything just went down. And then round 7 was Imola, and luckily, nothing really bad happened, but it was a commentary that I missed. So, I don't think I've actually had a successful Tier 2 commentary since Jeddah, potentially, but then Jeddah was a bit of a nightmare of a race as well at the same time, so I'm not too sure, ladies and gentlemen, if we're going to get a good race today, but hopefully we do. I'm just trying to find the calendar. There it is. And yeah, so it was Austria in which everything all went down. It was J&G's kind of his VFL debut in Tier 2, and he did extremely well. Even though Austria's race, it was cancelled early. Imola, unfortunately, I had to miss the commentary. Portimao, we did commentate Tier 2 of Portimao, but if you remember, the lobby glitched once again, because, you see, Austria, it glitched because we did a sprint race, but Portimao, it glitched because we had a massive collision on the starting grid with quite a few people DNFing, and we restarted and the game was just glitched out after that. And then, well, that takes us up to last week in Portimao. We did that race restart, but unfortunately the result from the race restart did not count, because in the VFL rulebook we've got a very complicated procedure in place that essentially if a certain amount or a certain percentage of the race has been completed, then the race should be stopped. Even so, that all happened last week, and right now we're on our penultimate race in the calendar, round 9. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Sunday, it's 8 o'clock, and that only means one thing. It's Tier 2 here at VFL. Like I said, the penultimate round of Season 2. The first season for Tier 2. Because in Season 1 we only had one tier. And this is it, ladies and gentlemen. For Poppy 1195. All the way down in the Ferrari. It may feel like a final race for him, because Dark Inferno actually posted a message in the Discord only a few days ago, Talking about Poppy 1195, it was actually Steph who posted it. He only needs to score 8 points more than our second place runner, Nice Job Mate, in the Mercedes in order to be crowned the Tier 2 champion. And the only way, really, that can happen is if either Poppy gets a terrible race or if Nice Job Mate finishes in P2. But even so, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed already, it's heavy rain here in Spa. As always, Steph jumps into a 50% race in an 18-minute qualifying in Grand Prix mode about a week before the race, and that basically works as our weather forecast. You see, we're a bit different compared to every other league race in which the weather's completely random. The weather is still random in VFL, but the drivers get about a week's notice beforehand. So Steph jumps into a Grand Prix session, and whatever the weather is for that session, we end up applying that to the race the following week. And we are in for a banger today, ladies and gentlemen. I assure you, we've got a full wet quali, and then we have a dry race up to about 2 laps before the end, in which it literally is going to be like the Russian GP this season. It's just going to absolutely hammer it down, and we were expected to finish on full wet conditions. Although when I did my practice race a couple of days ago, I did not even experience full wet conditions. I banged on the inters with a couple of laps to go, and it didn't turn full wet. So hopefully it does this week, or for the actual race. But man, regardless of what happens at the end of this Grand Prix, we've got an exciting 18-minute qualifying ahead of us on full wet. And in fact, I'm going to spectate the man who is leading the pack at the moment, just Dino. He's just approaching the bus stop chicane right now. And I'm going to follow his car in silence, because I've just heard that a certain Dark Inferno has just joined the voice chat. Ladies and gentlemen,
I did not want to intrude the lovely commentary that you were going off there. Some very nice insider information of what's going on, what's popping off. And yeah, Poppy is almost a champion on the 9th round of VFL.
Yeah, that will never be seen in VFL history before, because we've just recently experienced round 9 of the Tier 1. If you haven't watched that already, it's already up on the YouTube channel, and it was an absolute banging race. But yeah,
it was a glorious race indeed. You're totally right.
Absolutely incredible. But obviously, Robert DS did not win the championship, and the race will go down in Brazil. And last season, in Season 1, I weren't able to win the championship with 1 race remaining. So yeah, if Poppy takes the crown today, then he is going to be the first ever VFL driver to win a race before, or even win a race in any location apart from Interlagos, which will be interesting.
It will be interesting. A lot to play for in this race, and I think PJ mentioned this as well, I love wet qualifying, because it's just so fun to see and watch what drivers can do, and also who is, I don't know mean, but better than others, especially in these wet conditions. Oh, and Dino loses it at the exit of Puan, I believe.
Oh man, that's unfortunate. I was actually spectating him. Yeah, I was spectating him for a while, and you're right, just on the exit of Puan right now. He's just kind of chilling in the grass a little bit. And that's unfortunate. There's a lot of traffic. I think that is Tom Taylor, it is, who's just passed him. The Alfa Romeo driver.
It was a pretty good lap time until then. I can imagine that most drivers will be whacking on a dry setup, because most of the race is dry. And like I heard you catch on to you saying, at the end, there's not enough laps for it to become fully wet.
Yeah, well, really, that end in full wet weather really just means that the rain's going to be coming at a faster pace. Hang on a minute, there's been an incident up Radion, and that is Infamous Aim, and it is up O'Rugi's ended up probably leaving losing the back end, but he's just been disqualified from the session for being pointed the wrong direction, and that is unfortunate.
Very unfortunate indeed. Tom Taylor sets a lap of 1 minute 59.444.
Exactly.
I don't know what we can't compare that times between Tier 1 and Tier 2, because Tier 1 qualifying was in the dry.
Yes, but luckily I have redone the Sick Boy Super Lap in the wet, and I was able to set a 1:54.590.
Wow.
So they're already 2 seconds off the pace, but I wouldn't really treat it like that. I think that the drivers are just getting to grips with their car, and also that was using a full wet setup the same
Totally
setup
agree.
that I have recommended the rest of the drivers to use.
And I think I've just caught the two Alfa Romeos giving each other slipstream down the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, and that is major. I think a slipstream in the wet is about the same as the dry, and I already worked out that it's worth 0.2 of a second getting a really good slipstream down the
That is
Kemmel.
a major gap, that is, especially in the wets. You need all the time you can get.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to spectate Scoffet, who is
Oh, he's
on
doing
a
the
lap.
sick boy strategy, sticking one wheel on that little strip of concrete on the outside of Pouon, the outside of No Name actually. So
He's
yeah.
very brave through Pouon, planting the fossil down. I wonder
Yeah.
if he does have a dry setup on, as he is throwing his car around these corners.
Yeah,
It's
incredibly
looking
well.
to be a really good lap if he can hook it up.
Yeah, we see a lot of drivers oversteering around that final corner of Savlo on the entry to Blanchimont, so let's see if he can string it together, and he does so quite well. We're on an absolute banger right now. We're on board with
There's
Scruff.
also a glimpse
and-
of purple in the middle sector there.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers are going to be going purple in that middle sector, but it's definitely purple in the first sector for Scruff. After that toe from Tom Taylor, this could be the pole position lap time right now, set only 7 minutes into qualifying. He's a little bit slow through the bus stop chicane, and he gets a snap of oversteer on the exit of the bus
He
stop as
catches
well.
it well, but I don't think that'll be enough.
No, it isn't.
Yikes.
Man, he must have...
It's that mistake in the third sector there. It must have cost him a huge amount of time, and it was quite prevalent in the Tier 1 race that if you make a single mistake in the traction zones, you would lose a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're on board now with the other Williams driver, M. Firk, Magnus Firk. He is just ahead of Scruff, and that's why I decided to ping over to him. I haven't seen many qualifying laps from Magnus Firk. I don't think he's turned up to many races. I think only a couple.
He just joined the league, actually. He was here for Season 1, left quite early on, and now has made a comeback.
Oh, wow. He's a bit of a veteran even. And
Yeah, you
we've
could
got
say that.
another yellow flag, and this time it's it's the Red Bull even of Lemkis, I believe, and he's lost it coming out of La Source. I don't know whether he was on an in lap or a flying lap, but even so, that is unfortunate for Lemkis. But let's pan back to M. Firk right now. He's halfway through his lap. He's just come out of Pouon. He's heading towards Les Fan, and not many drivers are actually going over the curbs of the chicane, the Les Fan chicane. I don't know whether you'd recommend it. It's quite slippery on those curbs.
In the wets and in the dries, I was using those curbs all day, every day. I think my setup allowed for that to happen. Oh, and then
Exit Stabilo.
invalidates.
He's just gone wrong on the exit. And that's a corner that you do not want to get any understeer on, because in the F1 game, that barrier is so close to the exit of that
Indeed
corner.
it is.
And we saw
I made
Steph.
contact with that in qualifying.
Ah, wow. Well, also, Steph, in the race, ended up making contact with the barrier, losing the rear, losing his wing, and ended up losing so many positions.
That is a big shame there.
That was in that Thursday race. Yeah, extremely unfortunate. I'm quickly panning over to J&G. He's another driver, the McLaren reserve, who has recently joined the league. I was just explaining how his debut race was in Austria, I do believe, and he ended up performing incredibly well, far beyond his kind of expectations. So let's just quickly see right now. He's on the run down to Blanchimont in Sector 3. And you see, Sector 3 is kind of all about your setup, isn't it? There are not many corners
Definitely.
at all, apart
back
from
and
the bus
getting
stop.
a little bit light there, if you noticed that.
I did catch that actually, and it was well caught by J&G as well. You can easily, I don't think Blanchimont is flat in these conditions, and you can easily lose the rear of the car and just DNF at those speeds.
He does struggle to put down the power, which has cost him some time. P14 so far.
Yeah,
Definitely
and that's
some
the
room for
slowest
improvement.
lap so far. Quickly panning over to Justino, actually. He's on another flying lap. Sets a 33.5 in the first sector. He's coming around Pouon right now, and he doesn't get much understeer. I think it was a little bit slow through Pouon, actually. Just approaching Les Fan, and did you see how much understeer he gets through Les Fan?
Very, very wide there, definitely.
Yeah, I think he's abandoned the lap, in fact. I wouldn't be surprised. ALB, whoa, he's sliding all over the place around Les Com, and he's just managed to catch that. But again, I'm sure he'll abandon his lap.
I am currently watching Tristan, who has just started his flying lap, going through Rouge and Aradion.
Yeah, it's
He
nice.
does it very well.
Yeah, it is. I'm actually on board with the AlphaTauri teammate of Justino. It's Closey. I think this is his VFL debut. I've seen him.
His debut was in Imola.
Ah, yeah, that is a good point. But yeah, I've just been on board with him, and he's very slidey all over the place. There's not a lot of grip on that track at all.
Tell you who isn't sliding?
Tristan. I was just about to say, I'm panning back over to Tristan. He seems like a man on a mission right now. He's got infinite
Brussels
grip.
was done very, very cleanly. Does ride the curb there, which will cost him a little bit of time. No Name, pretty decent. Gets on the power quite well. Heading down into Pouon, see if he can hook it up quite well. Little slow.
Yes, he broke quite a lot on Pouon. I think a lot of drivers are using low differential setups, but something that I
agree.
do. Right, let's see how we can string together Lei Fan real quick, because
Lei Fan, beautiful.
Probably the hardest couple of corners I think on the track in the wet, because you
want to dry. It isn't easy. That's so purple to the second sector.
Wow. Unfortunately, he eases off throughout Stavolo. He isn't flat, and that is. It's Closey has ended up binning it on the exit of Blanchimont, but quickly panning back over to Tristan. We can't be following his lap for this long and then just completely stop following him.
Having aboard the entire lap, this could be a pole position. Let's see how well he strings together the bus-up chicane.
Ooh.
Not bad. Although he is a little slow on the exit, but he does get in the power quite well. This will be a pretty decent lap, and it's pole position provisionally. 2 tenths faster.
Almost 2 tenths of a second, exactly. A 1:56.219. And that was an incredible lap from Tristan. I don't think there were many corners that he could have done any better. And that's without a slipstream as well. Man.
Incredible lap from Tristan. I'm glad I caught all of that.
Man, that really is incredible. But, yeah, so what I was quickly saying about differential is, yeah, you are right to use kind of a low differential setup around most of the corners. But for Pouon, you get nothing but understeer. So this is the only track in the game that I actually do. If you go on the MFD, you can actually change your differential on the fly. And on the
I actually use it quite a lot in the race. You didn't see it a lot, but I use quite a low differential because you just want to get the power down. And Tom Taylor almost losing it. Top of Hardy on there.
Man, that really is something. Hang on, I'm on board with Poppy actually. I was like, what are you talking about? It's because I'm on board with the wrong driver. What is interesting is the fact that Poppy is smack bang behind MOC, going around the third sector right now. I'm almost certain what they're doing. They're lining up Poppy 1195 for a slipstream down the Kemmel. And MOC's been a very good teammate if he's doing that, kind of giving priority to Poppy 1195. Because obviously Poppy is battling for a championship. I'm sure he would love
to team play for MOC.
Win one race early, and then he doesn't even have to turn up to Brazil.
MOC has always been the team player, especially in Baku, which was quite a huge team play from him for Poppy. And it does look like Poppy is starting his final lap. I wonder if MOC will give him the slipstream. He is going slowly out of turn 1.
I quickly planned over to Lemkis then. It showed him on the mediums. I was really confused, but it actually turns out he's on the wets once again. He's leaving the pits, but just quickly following Poppy. Oh, did you see that? He almost lost the rear then.
I did.
Car got so light.
These dry setups getting very, very light in the heavy wets.
Exactly.
However, this slipstream is looking very, very nice.
Yeah, MOC moving out the way right at the end of the Kemmel, giving as much of a slipstream as possible to his Ferrari teammate. Man, this is so far.
Ooh, he goes wide.
But he doesn't invalidate. That is interesting.
Very lucky.
Yeah, I'm actually unsure whether he had to ease off a lot and probably lost a lot of time. I think he did. He
most likely did lose a lot of time, but he is really pushing, using the slipstream to the maximum.
Yeah, I wonder if Poppy 1195 is increasing his differential for Pouon. And I think
as Emford posts a slightly better time than he originally did, 3 tenths faster than his previous best.
Oh wow, this is really good. If he only squeezes out another tenth of a second through the middle sector, he could be... Oh, did you see that?
Did you see? I did see that. That is a massive shame for Poppy.
Yeah, unfortunately invalidated his lap around Lei Fan, and I mean, I wouldn't have caught it if the minimap didn't turn red. He was literally on that white line and probably crossed it by a pixel. Yeah. And just like that, he's ended up losing it. Tom Taylor also on the Inters as well. This is interesting. I really want to spectate one of these drivers going out.
What's
on
even
the
more
Inces.
interesting is it's Kevin Kearney going through the second sector, setting purple to the second sector. A load of people setting purple sectors.
Yeah, he's 4.5
No
tenths.
one's able to put Tristan. But he goes very wide
Oh dear.
and invalidates.
Invalidates his lap on Blanchimont. You see, a lot of drivers are actually taking Blanchimont flat, but it isn't flat
That's
in these
true.
conditions. You need to
Especially with drive setups, that is
Exactly.
very true.
You need to slightly ease off, and it's cost Kevin Kearney quite a lot. He was over 4.5 tenths up on his lap time, and that would have given him a 1:57.0, which would have knocked him all the way up. Actually, sharing a row with his RB teammate Lemkes.
It is now MOC's turn to receive slipstream from Poppy. Fantastic team play here, as we're going to watch MOC as he goes for an attempt to get slightly higher than 10th position. As you might have noticed in the Discord that Poppy might have already won the championship, but the constructors for Ferrari has definitely not won just yet, with Williams leading the championship still.
Exactly. And they just passed the Alfa Romeo driver, Tom Taylor, and I really want to see, straight after MOC's lap is over, I'm panning over to Tom Taylor immediately. He's on the intermediate tyre, the only driver so far to brave the Inters, I think. I want to see how bad it is out there for him, because, trust me, this is not intermediate weather.
No, it's definitely not, no.
And I've
I
just
wonder if
realised,
he knows that?
yeah, there's only 50 seconds left in the qualifying session, so this is really getting heated. I think Tom Taylor's just thought, you know what, I can't improve, let's just go for it. Even so, MOC, half a second up from his previous lap time. There's a yellow flag. I think that is the other Alfa Romeo driver, Scruff, kind of holding
ALB is
people up.
retired from the session round Puon. Is that Puon? It looks like
Yeah, I
round
think
Puon
so.
there.
Yes, exactly, that is Puon. But all eyes right now are on MOC LFC, around half a
Definitely.
second up on his previous lap time, and that, if he can string it together, will get him P8 alongside Lemkes on the fourth row
I
of the
wonder
grid.
if it'll be any better. It looks pretty good. P5.
Wow, it's even better, 7 tenths of a second up from his previous lap time. But all eyes right now, or at least my eyes, are on Tom Taylor. He's on the Inters, and he was so squirrely on the exit of the bus stop chicane. It really was something else. And I really want to see whether he can string this lap together and get pole, or whether this is just a joke. Emma Thunderboss is turned backwards.
Turned to dust, more like.
yeah, turned to dust. Just completely evaporated from existence.
Oh, Tom Taylor invalidates his lap after having absolutely
Oh,
no
hang
grip.
on, and completely
And he
bins it as well.
intentionally... I wonder if that was intentional, because to me, that looked intentional.
I'm not too sure. He definitely didn't have a lot of grip, but yeah, you're right, it could have been
Definitely
intentional. Real quick, Scruff is 1 second up on his previous lap time. This is enough for pole, ladies and gentlemen, if he can string the bus stop chicane together. And it is, ladies and gentlemen. Final minute, we're qualifying even over. Scruff
Wow.
poles it with a 1:56.057. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is an incredible lap. It's still half a second off the Sick Boy Super lap, may I add, but it's still an incredible lap.
Does not matter,
nonetheless.
because Scruff is on pole because Tristan has invalidated his final lap, and the only person now who can maybe snatch that pole away is Poppy, 1195, who's going around the second sector right now and is 3/10 up from his previous best.
I think he's worried quite a bit that he'll invalidate the lap. Look how slow he was around Leif Fan.
Wow, but it is
and
purple. I
Stavlo.
wonder if that is a visual glitch though, however.
Exactly. Well, he's almost 4 tenths up on his previous lap time, and that will give him probably about, alongside Tristan, it's too close to call. He's either going to be sharing a front row with Scruff, or he's going to be on the outside, or at
takes
least on the inside of the second row.
Blanchimont flat out. He needs to have a fantastic bush up, yeah, definitely bush
shop.
chicane.
Stickane.
That's the
ladies
new
and
name.
Right, I think this is enough for P2 or P3, and it is. He shares a
P2.
front row grid with Scruff A, and that pretty much is the conclusion of qualifying. Apparently Kevin Kearney
However,
is on
MOC
flying
is
lap.
now coming around for but that is a 2-minute lap time. But definitely not
Yeah, of
something
course.
that
He's
will get him
not
any higher.
taking it seriously
But
at
may
all.
I note that the championship P2 in the championship, United one starts at P8.
Wow, that really is something. United 199 is P2 in the championship. I thought that, nice job, mate. The Mercedes
Of course,
driver.
it's a nice job, mate. I am not with it today, but he's even further back in P11. Who I think, yeah, he's definitely using him off. He is not.
Yeah,
posting
so
at the time.
just quickly panning over to the... Oh, hang on. My microphone was so far away then. Just panning over to the Tier 2 driver standings. As of last race in Portugal, of course, the race results were taken not from the 5-lap sprint race we did at the very end of the race, but the race that was finished about 5 laps early. Even so, as of Portugal, Poppy 1195 is leading the championship by 22 points over Nice Job Mate in P2, and in P3 it's not that tight of a battle actually. Around 15 points separate each driver between United 199 in P3, Scruff in P4 and MOC in P5. And then we have a bit of a tight midfield between Tom Taylor, Infamous Aim, Tristan Pudnick, Phil Donald and MF Underboss. Only 1 point separates quite a few of the drivers. So it's really going down to the wire. But even so, who cares about the drivers' standings? You want me to run down the qualifying results with Scruff, an incredible lap time, almost a sub 156, lands him on pole position with Poppy 1195 fighting for the World Championship on the front row of the grid. He's going to be on the outside into La Source, and let's see if he's able to make hopefully a better entry into La Source and maybe go side by side up Eau Rouge and Radion. And the rest of the grid, or at least the top 14, is as follows. Tristan and Lemkis share the second row of the grid. Tom Taylor and Magnus Ferk on the third row. MOC and the United 199 on the fourth row. MF Underboss and Kevin Kearney on the fifth row. Nice Job Mate and Phil Donald on the sixth row. And Panthelon UK and Pudnick on the seventh row. And unfortunately, my screenshot didn't capture any of the other drivers, but
I'm sure we'll go through the rest of the grid as the formation lap gets underway very soon, as we can see the drivers down in the middle left hand side corner. But yeah, very interesting race. I've always loved Spa. Provides fantastic racing, but not real life this year because, well, quite the obvious.
yeah,
But
unfortunately
this
the
time
race
round,
didn't go
I
ahead.
hope VFL can provide a more enjoyable experience for free as well.
Of course. Nah, I'm really, really looking forward to this race. Again, the weather, because I don't actually think I explained it too well. The weather is interesting. It actually starts cloudy and then it goes kind of sunny midway through the race, but then it just turns to full rain right at the very end. And the game, it takes quite a while to cycle through all of those weather states from partly cloudy to light rain and to heavy rain. It'll be interesting to see if we do eventually get heavy rain conditions before the end of the race. But like I said earlier, I did a practice race and I didn't actually get the the rain come until like lap 19 out of 22, and we had a safety car as well, so it might not rain until about lap 20. But what is
Perhaps
interesting
might
is
not be a good idea to box. Maybe someone might be able to brave it out in the wet with soft tyres.
yeah, but what's interesting is nobody has actually started on the tyre that I recommended. Of course, it's a wet qualifier, meaning all 20 drivers can start on whatever tyre they want. And in my Sick Boy Super strategy, I told everybody to start on the hards because the rain isn't going to come until lap 19. Only the hard compound lasts until lap 19. And honestly, it's such a good strategy. You end up winning the race by about 4 or 5 seconds. Of course, if there's a safety car, then you're going to suffer quite greatly. But what's interesting is not a single driver has opted for that decision, which is fair enough. Instead, we've got the front row of the grid, both starting on the medium tyre, that being Scruff and Poppy. And then we've got Magnus Ferk, MOC, United 199 and MF Underboss, and Phil Donald. And then the two disqualified drivers in P16 and P17, Gooders and ALB. And then all the way down in P20, Infamous Aim, all starting on the mediums. Now what's interesting is I wonder if the drivers know that even if they start on the medium compound, they have to pit. I don't think they know just how late the rain is going to come. And this could be interesting. You know, they might seriously think that they could start on the mediums and hold out until the rain comes, which is, you know, quite an obvious thing to think. But honestly, with the high tyre wear in Spa, you're not going to be able to last on those mediums at all. You have to start on the hard compound. So what I'm trying to say is I wonder if some of the drivers hold out for so long they end up getting punctures. We saw a puncture, I believe it was the United 199, got a puncture in Portimao last week. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, what do you think is going to happen regarding tyre wear?
Well, I would like to bring up the World Cup in France with how Oda actually won the race due to his tyre selection at the start. He opted for the softs, went on to the mediums because of a safety car, and that allowed him to have free choice of what to do when the rain hit. So the people, if the safety car is called out, the people in the mediums will be caught out quite massively, as we were in that race. So it's nice to tie in the that race and this one to see what will happen. However, you just have to see. The strategy is very mixed, which is what we like to see.
Exactly.
Anyway.
As Infamous Aim is on the last row of the grid and the race is starting. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all freaking out. We've got 5 lights and the Belgian Grand Prix is underway. Lemkis jump starts and gets a drive-through penalty. And it's a brilliant start from Scruff in P1. And in fact, Tristan has just made a move on Poppy into La Source. That moves Poppy all the way down to P3. He gets a bad exit. Poppy, Tom Taylor ends up making P3. And Tristan gets a great exit from La Source. And he ends up in P1. And he started on the second row of the grid. Lemkis ends up
Kevin Kearney! He's out of the race!
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to pan down.
Huge contact between the bottom half of the grid.
Yeah, down the bottom it's all kicking off. Magnus Ferk has ended up also overtaking Poppy 1195 and Lemkis.
Because his teammate and Infamous Aim making a move on Gen B there and Pudnik making contact. There's a lot of side-by-side moments going down into Brussels here.
It's a terrible start for Red Bull. Lemkis was side-by-side with Poppy heading up Eau Rouge, and the next time I check, he's trundled all the way down into P19. He must have had severe wing damage, and he's got a drive-through penalty to serve. So he's not even going to be able to change his wing when he dives into the pits. He'll serve his drive-through first. So this is pretty much the race over for Red Bull. But Scruff, our pole sitter, has ended up losing it around, I believe that's Lei Fan, and he's trundling down the positions. I think he's got wing damage, and he's all the way down. He's going to end up in last position. Ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely heartbreaking to watch. And Gooders as well has ended up crashing around Lei Fan. I forgot to mention, I think there was a collision between the two drivers, but yeah, Scruff from P1 down to P19 on the first lap of the race.
Yeah, huge movements going on. There was a massive collision going up on Rouge and Radion, and there was just cars everywhere. One of those victims is Kevin Kearney. He was made contact with, and he has damage by the looks of things. However, looking down the rest of the grid, it now seems to be kind of settled. However, there's huge battles going on down, and we have It's Cozy, Lem, One Kiss, and Kevin Kearney. All
boxing. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Gooders and Scruff also decide to box. I'm pretty sure Scruff has got wing damage, but he doesn't decide to box, so maybe he doesn't. But yeah, I think there were more incidents on lap 1 than we originally noticed. It's close, he ends up boxing probably for a new win.
Anyway, the championship protagonists are right behind each other.
Exactly.
Poppy in P5 and Nice Job Mate in P6.
Yeah, and there's another yellow flag, and I believe that's Pantalon UK. Yes, he's ended up losing the rear around Les Com, and unfortunately he's trundled down. And in fact, it's both Alpine drivers. I think they may have even, yes they did, they have just collided into each other. Pantalon UK gets a 5-second time penalty for hitting into Pudnik, and both Alpine drivers have taken each other out. And that's a terrible start for Alpine and Red Bull, but it isn't a terrible start. And Magnus Ferk has just been spun around Lei Fan, and he's just trundling down the pack right now, all the way down to P9. And let's just see the exterior of his car. ALB is the next one to lose it around Lei Fan as well. And MF Underboss has just DNF'd. I believe that is around the exit of Stavelo. He's probably got understeer and hit, and he has, on that sticky out little wall on the exit of Stavelo. And Justino has also DNF'd due to hitting into MF Underboss. We've got a virtual safety car. ALB has lost it once again. I believe that's about 5. A full course safety car has been called, ladies and gentlemen, just to stop the carnage. I cannot believe what just happened. It was MF Underboss who has ended up crashing. I think he crashed on his own accord. He got understeer through Stavelo, that little sticky out bit of wall. As soon as you hit that, it's basically an instant DNF. And then because it's a blind corner, Justino's been absolutely rocketing around Stavelo. Didn't see MF Underboss, couldn't react in time, and ended up DNFing. Honestly.
That was so much carnage on this opening 3 laps. So many things are happening, and I believe most of the incidents were caused by people riding the curves a bit too much and just spinning their car. Obviously, Belgium is a very difficult track to master, especially with the undulations and the curves, but Tristan finds himself leading the race.
Yeah, and what's really bad is right now Tristan and Tom Taylor, because the rest of the pack who started on the softs were able to box straight away, but Tristan and Tom Taylor have been forced to kind of stay out a little bit. And I mean, I think it's even worse for the rest of the drivers. I mean, the medium runners, MOC down to infamous aim, they're not going to be boxing under safety car, I don't think, unless they want to go on the hard compound, and their mediums are not lasting until lap 20, so man, this really shakes things up a bit. Oh, hang on, ALB has just DNF'd up Eau Rouge. In fact, that was the top of Radion.
Given left, right and centre.
Yeah, the United 199 has a drive-through for not respecting the Delta under safety car, and Lemkis and the Alpha Tauri driver in P17, it's Closey, has ended up also receiving a drive-through. I mean, imagine if you just did not turn up to this race. Anybody could win this race today. Even our P20 driver who started. I mean, ALB was actually started in P20, but even so, I think anybody could win this race at this point. Quickly panning over to the pit stops, Tristan stays out. He wants to retain his P1 lead, but Tom Taylor has decided to box, and I believe he's going to be going on the mediums until the rest of the race.
Which I think is actually the right call, but another drive-through penalty for the drivers further down. I wonder if this is perhaps an unfair thing, but yeah, this is very strange. Surely it's not difficult to follow the Delta unless it's going up and down like a roller coaster.
Exactly. I think the drivers, well, no, you're quite right. I think drivers are pushing so much, they don't want to lose a couple tenths of a second, that they end up pushing so much, they end up disrespecting the Delta. I mean, I was on board with Tom Taylor then. He almost just lost the car into Eau Rouge. Hang on. Oh, yeah, I thought that driver had just lost it then. That would have been hilarious, but unfortunately not. I mean, real quick, this is actually quite major. We've got Tristan leading the safety car. He's on the soft compound. He's one of the only drivers, actually, to not box under safety car who started on the softs. I think he's going to be absolutely eaten up by the rest of the pack.
This is very strange here. Nice job, mate. He's gone into the pits for the second time and put on. He was originally on softs. He put in another pair of softs and now on the mediums. I wonder if there was a mistake there. He definitely don't think he would have wanted to be on the softs, but that's almost ruined him there. He was right behind Poppy, the person who needs to be behind in order to have a shot at the championship for next race. But unfortunately, as it stands, Poppy will win the championship as it currently stands.
Yeah, I mean, oh, hang on, it's close. He ends up getting a 3-second time penalty. He ends up cutting the corner under safety car. I'm used to Chills F1 being 20 seconds behind the rest of the pack under safety car, but I guess he's not here to fulfill that role. But it's only because he's sitting beside me right now, actually watching the race. Chills F1.
That is nice. We've got a little audience.
We have got an audience of one live. He was actually just messaging me saying that he reckons he could have won this race after the poor driving standards that have happened today.
That is very true from Chills. Very poor driving standards. I can imagine there being at least 50 reports flying around everywhere. Of course, you don't want to see that happening in VFL. We want to have the most clean racing and, you know, fun at the bottom line. And surprisingly, only 3 drivers have actually DNF, which is so surprising. I thought a lot more would be gone, but however, at least half the grid has received damage or spun, and what is a huge heartbreak is Scruff. However, this safety car has kind of saved him almost. Yeah, I was just about to say that Kevin Kearney's been saved. He ended up being in it on lap 1. He's banged on the hard compound. I think he knows how late this rain's going to come. And he's all the way up into P12. Remember, he was in P20 at one point. This safety car has saved so many drivers. Both Red Bulls. Pudnick's all the way up P11. He was backwards around Les Combes only a few laps ago. And you're quite right. Scruff, our pole sitter in Belgium, ended up losing 18 positions in about 2 laps. I think It's Closey's doing the old Chills F1 strategy by boxing 50 times under safety car. I don't know why he's pit once again. And that's another good point that you made about nice job mate boxing twice. I think he must have accidentally put on the softs,
But what's interesting is I'm actually unsure whether these mediums are going to make it to the end, even if you end up boxing now for a brand new set, because when I was doing this 50% race, I ended up having like 60% wear after about 16-17 laps on these mediums, and the rain isn't coming until like lap 20.
That would be very interesting. Maybe Kevin Kearney, the only, well, apart from Pantalon UK, the only two on the hards, do you think they will be more of a factor towards the rain period?
Oh, absolutely. The hards make it until the rain, even if you end up starting on lap 1. These drivers have ended up banging the hards on around lap 3. What I'm really curious about are the drivers who didn't box under safety car. I'm talking
Tristan
about...
being the main one.
Yeah, so first of all, Tristan, he's definitely going to box in maybe about 5 or 6 laps and bang on the mediums. Maybe even sooner, actually. But I'm specifically talking about MOC all the way down to like Magnus Ferk, and Infamous is in this as well, and Gooders. You see, these are drivers who have started on the medium compound, and normally mediums will not make it until the rain on lap 19. But because of the safety car, obviously there's reduced wear under safety car.
Exactly.
I reckon these drivers are more convinced than ever to hold out on the medium tyres until the rain. But, I mean, maybe we'll still see some shock punctures. I mean, United 199, he's used to them by now. He had one in Portugal, like I've already mentioned. I mean, it's very easy to get punctures. I think it's around the 80% mark you end up seeing them. Is this safety car coming in this lap? Not too sure.
I don't know, because Closley is only just closed back in.
Yeah, I think that's going to be another lap.
Perhaps another lap, which will help out the medium runners a lot more, and it will hurt Tristan, who will have very short tyres, as you can already see on the visuals of the game, that they are very flat.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that Tristan has made a bit of a strategy error in staying out. If he had boxed as soon as the safety car was called, then he would have come out around where Tom Taylor is now. Remember, Tom Taylor and Tristan were side by side, and they were both on softs. Tom Taylor's only come out in P6, which is not a bad trade at all, considering that he's on fresher tyres than the rest of the pack. But as it stands right now, Tristan taking the gamble and staying out, 3 boxes, maybe 1 lap under safety car, he ain't going to be coming out P6, he's going to be coming out around P12. So yeah, it seems like a bit of a wrong strategy call. And did you see Kevin Kearney's car just did a bunny hop? It just kind of floated 2 feet in the air.
Yeah,
then for a second.
He's left the session. I think he's having some network issues, which is a huge shame for him. It's nothing new for him, but yeah, still a shame. However, I would like to mention, yeah, you're totally right, because Tristan could have used the safety car to his advantage. Wouldn't have this track position right now, but he would have fresher tyres and would come out around Tom Taylor area, which isn't too bad considering that he'll have 5 lap fresher tyres, but now he has 5 lap old softs, and around Belgium, as you've said, that tyre wear is very, very high. So I wouldn't be surprised if he would get a puncture within the next lap or 2.
Yeah. Especially, yeah, you're quite right with Tristan. He's definitely going to be boxing in the next couple of laps, because, I mean, I think you've experienced it yourself, just how bad tyre wear is in Belgium. I mean, softs only last about 6 or 7 laps under normal conditions. Tristan has probably got around 4 lap old softs wear-wise. So yeah, he's definitely going to be boxing, I reckon, about a couple of laps under the safety car.
You'll be definitely right.
This has really turned the race on its head. Any of maybe the top 10 drivers could easily walk away with this victory. Scruff has just been given a 5-second time penalty.
Yeah. He's pushing his limits with the AI of Kevin Kearney there, but safety car is in this lap, which is hallelujah. Otherwise, a pretty boring race so far, just watching drivers going 50 miles per hour.
I mean, it made up for it on that lap 3 drama with 3 drivers losing it. I'm still untoo sure why so many drivers. I mean, I know that MF Underboss got understeer around Stavilo and hit that little sticky out bit wall. But yeah, are you confident that the other drivers ended up spinning just because they're all over the curbs?
I did see Mfolk, I think he did spin in his own accord. The pressure of getting around these cars is huge, but we shall now watch the restart and babble on about this later, as Tristan is now rounding the final corner. Is it a decent restart?
Yeah, MOC gets a bit of a snap of oversteer, and running down the order, it doesn't look like there's going to be any moves into last source. And yeah, no, there isn't actually.
Oh,
hang
there
on.
is. Nice job, mate,
on
going for
Gooders.
Gooders.
Yeah, he is. You're quite right, and he has. It's
Very
a brilliant
clean.
overtake for nice job,
Classic
mate.
move. Well done from him.
Yeah,
More moves
and
down Lloyder.
Lemkiss, real quick, he's going side by side with Scruff up Eau Rouge right now, and let's see whether they can stick it together, and they can. Oh, hang on, there is a bit of contact, and Scruff has lost it a little bit, but it's actually J&G who's ended up binning, and it's Closey as well, so it's Closey has spun outside La Source, but it's J&G who has ended up completely spinning it up Eau Rouge, and has lost his wing completely.
I was about to say that was a good side-by-side moment in Eau Rouge, but they just clipped rear wheel, as Kevin Kearney's AI is being a roadblock right now. Not leaving a lot of space, which is not what you like to see.
Yeah, Lemkiss diving up the inside of
Rivage. Using that advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
And getting past.
And it's so tight heading into on right now. The drivers are literally kind of up each other's gearboxes. Tom Taylor gets a 3-second time penalty. That's really going to cost him.
Is being overtaken by a nice job, mate. He seems to have damage as he's going very slow. Oh, he makes contact with the rear wheel of nice job, mate, and it's in the barriers.
Yeah, you're quite right. He's completely lost it around Le Fan, and yeah, did he ended up hitting the back of?
Yeah. I don't know if he has damage or not, but he does seem very slow around these corners, and I think he understeered into Nice Job Mate's wheel. I don't think it's anything to do with Nice Job Mate and his fault. However,
we've got
Pudnick's lost it.
Oh dear.
Blanchimon.
And he's just gone into. I believe that is Pudnick. No, sorry, Pudnick was the one who lost it. I'm not too sure what's just happened. There isn't a safety car. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. A lot of drivers are going into the pits.
An unfortunate car has made contact. I do not know who that was. It might have been United one, actually. No, it isn't.
Yeah, Pudnick lost it and ended up hitting into somebody. Again, I have no idea who it was. Oh man, that was really.
Oh, they
something.
are serving their drive-through penalties.
Ah, yes.
Those guys. Okay, so who hit that? Anyway, going up to P8 and 7, Scuffet trying to make him go around the. Oh, sorry, not around the outside.
Yeah,
inside.
the inside.
And he died.
No, hang on.
So wide off the track.
Yeah, that's a bit naughty from Scruff.
Yeah. And cuts him off completely.
Unfortunately, yeah, he does cut off a little bit. Gooders. I mean, I've been in many a situation like that. They break really late through into Les Combes, and if you just hug the inside heading into the run down into Rivage, you can actually go for a cheeky little move. Oh, hang on, Pudnick has spinned it once again around Les Combes.
Belgium proving very difficult for these drivers today.
I think every driver has ended up suffering at least once. Man, it's just such a tough track.
However, who isn't suffering is Tristan. Despite being on the very old soft tyres, pulled out 1.5 seconds to Poppy.
Wow. Yeah, I think Poppy's kind of playing it safe right now. He knows that the last thing he needs is a crash, but Kevin Kearney is the next driver to crash around Les Fan. He's lost a couple positions. But I'm watching Tom Taylor. He's all up Magnus Ferk's gearbox heading into the bus stop chicane, and he yields the position. He doesn't go for the move because he wants DRS on Magnus Ferk, of course.
Who might go for the move is United 1 and Infamous Aim going through Blanchimon right now. Had to ease off to not make any contact, but goes up the inside, takes the grass.
Yeah,
cleanly goes to the inside. However,
Infamous Aim breaks early.
Tries to go for the switchback, doesn't
yeah,
work
in all
out
honesty, I think that was a bit of a mistake from the United 199 because Infamous Aim is going to have DRS on one of the easiest overtakes on the calendar, down the Kemmel Straight. Talking about down the Kemmel Straight, there isn't much of a move happening. I mean, MOC may try and make a move on Poppy, unfortunately doesn't. But yeah, Poppy doesn't have DRS, of course, on Tristan. Tristan's just pulled out such a gap. I mean, I think the best drivers to watch right now, maybe Tom Taylor, he's all over the gearbox.
He's getting a little bit frustrated, kind of being boxed up behind Ferg. He had such overspeed in the Kemmel Straight, but just could not get around Ferg. He's trying everything he can, because up ahead are his rivals, and he needs to get past them.
Yeah,
however, what is interesting is the ERS battery of some of these drivers. Tristan, despite being at the lead, still has quite a large bank. Oh, and he does get a little bit of oversteer on that curb there. Did you see that?
Yeah, yellow flag in Sector 2. That's Phil Donald. No, it's actually Kevin Kearney. And a virtual safety car has been called.
It's close. It's tied from the session, and that looks like to be the pit entry. As of Scruff is spun.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Scruff has ended up spinning. There's a bit of carnage now. Lemkis
dangerously rejoins in front of
and Scruff.
Lemkis.
Yeah, and Infamous Aim have all kind of suffered. Lemkis ends up getting a penalty for hitting into Scruff, and that is bad. I think it kind of should be the other way around if what you're saying is kind of accurate. There is a virtual safety car, not a full safety car, and kind of it all kind of kicked off. So it's Kevin Kearney ended up spinning. Closey ended up bidding on the pit entry. Tristan has boxed under VSC, and he's losing a lot of time. He's going to end up coming out probably behind Gooders and in front of United 199.
However, this is a great opportunity for him because the virtual safety car, you do not lose as much time as you would do normally. So this is definitely a damage limitation here. But another drive-through penalty.
Yeah, for Kevin Kearney. Yeah,
but
so
that's
he does
the
come
AI.
out
So
ahead of
that's.
United. Yeah, but that is weird to get a drive-through from the AI. That is odd.
Very odd. I do think the AI are a bit weird, especially in the online. They aren't fantastic.
A lot of drivers are serving 5-second time penalties right now, including Scruff. He was actually doing really well, but unfortunately he's forced to box on the softs. I think it's because he's serving his 5-second time penalty now rather than later, I imagine. But that 5-second time penalty wasn't really deserved.
Before we forget, we are back on the green flag running, and Enfo doesn't get a great exit out of No Name. But Tom Taylor won't be able to make an exit. Oh, but quite slow.
Yeah, Magnus Ferk gets a very slow entry, and I thought that was Tristan then, who had actually just lost it. It is a driver who's lost it. It's Infamous Aim has lost it up Eau Rouge, and that's an incredibly dangerous place at the top of Radion to lose your car, but he doesn't rejoin dangerously. He lets Lemkis through first, which is very nice to see.
Very close racing between the top 5 here. Tristan trying to make a statement as he's boxed. I think team orders were in play here because Gooders was in front of Tristan and swap places, which is pretty good from those two. As we run up to the bus stop chicane, no moves happening, but Ferrari taking 1-2 provisionally. This is fantastic for them.
Man, it would be interesting to see whether MOC does overtake his teammate heading down the Kemmel. We've had another incident, that's Pudnick again doing donuts around Lake Com. And that's really unfortunate. He spun so many times.
Hanslon making a move on Infamous Aim, who's going notoriously slowly
around
through Puon. It's very interesting why he's being so slow through there. Has he got damage he hasn't
right now,
to fix?
all eyes are on Tom Taylor and MOC. MOC's got a significant speed advantage on Poppy. He doesn't make a move. Tom Taylor also isn't able to make a move on Magnus Ferk. So I guess all the positions stay the same.
Very good team play from the Ferrari boys there, having MOC, who isn't contending for the championship, kind of being a roadblock almost for Mfolk here, but it does go wide.
Yes, he goes very wide through Rivage, and Magnus Ferk is desperate to stick a wheel up the inside of Rivage, and we've got another crash. That's Gooders, I believe, has lost it up Eau Rouge Radion again. I mean, man, Tom Taylor, just let's spectate him. I think he is going to make a move into Le Fan, and he is. He's side by side. He brakes later, but he isn't able to make a move on Magnus Ferk.
Using an outside curb is not a smart idea, especially on the braking, and he almost loses it. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did. I was spectating. Nice job, mate. And he was going to make a move on Tom Taylor after that mistake, but he yields. Not too sure why. I think it's that Tom Taylor's just so dangerously driving right now that he's so far on the edge. Yeah, absolutely.
But there might be a move it down into Bushup's chicane as Tom Taylor's using all of his ERS. Will he go for the move? He does.
Oh, hang on. Yes, he really does. Hang on. Magnus Ferk has just dived on the inside of MOC through the bus stop chicane. MOC is not going to be very happy with that, but he does get the superior exit, but they're side by side heading into La Source, but it's Tom Taylor. Oh, unfortunately not. Magnus Ferk ends up
Tom Taylor goes for a fantastic move.
Tom Taylor ends up going for the move on the inside, and it looks like Magnus Ferk and MOC are going to take it all the way down to Radion and Eau Rouge. It's MOC who's on the inside, Magnus Ferk on the outside. And it's Magnus Ferk who yields, but he's lost the rear, and he's completely lost it, and there's DNF from the race. Magnus Ferk completely losing it up Radion, and that is because...
And this allows Tom Taylor to move...
Full course safety car.
Oh no.
A full course safety car has been called, which plays perfectly into the hands of Poppy 1195 and MOC, who I'm sure will be banging on a fresh set of mediums to last until lap 20. I cannot believe that.
So unfortunate.
Magnus Ferk was driving so well. He was side by side with MOC heading up Radion, and it's because he glued his car to the inside curbs and there's not a lot of grip on those inside curbs up Radion.
Yeah.
He ended
I
up
was gonna
losing
say.
the rear, and it was a clear-cut DNF for Magnus Ferk.
I
And
didn't think there was anyone else's error there. I think he just took too much curb and lost it, which is quite common here. But what was quite sad is that Tom Taylor used this to his advantage and almost overtook MOC, what the safety car was called. So now he's boxed up behind MOC yet again.
And these Ferrari drivers are working together so well that you just cannot go through their defence at all. MOC's been a bit of a Checo right now, and he's making that car as wide as possible. What's interesting though is, quickly panning over to tyres, Tom Taylor boxed. He started on the softs, didn't he? And then he boxed for the mediums. I can almost guarantee that the two Ferrari drivers will be boxing. And that also means a double stack may be happening. I think MOC is going extremely slowly to allow Poppy to pull out as much of a gap as possible. Poppy doesn't box. That's really interesting.
But MOC does box though.
MOC does box. Poppy 1195, confident that his tyres will last until the rain comes on lap 19. But because of the two safety cars, I think the rain is going to be coming earlier than ever. Maybe even lap 18 or 17.
Yeah, definitely. These tyres were going to last a lot longer than they would do, especially because there's been two safety cars right now. But what is interesting is, if they did go for the double stack, it is written in the rulebook that you cannot slow down erratically during the safety car period. So I wonder if MSC did so, and he would be penalised, but I don't think it was so dramatic.
Yeah, I think it was about a second though, to be fair. They were within DRS range of one another, and then before the end of the safety car they were almost 2 seconds apart. But that could be because the gaps are extended because the drivers are obviously going slow under VSC. Of course we'll look at it post-race, but that was a bit of a smart move from MOC, except the fact that Poppy didn't box under safety car. He kind of surprised us all by not boxing.
He definitely did. He is now on the oldest tyres on the grid, and it's working out well for him because he's now leading the race with Tom Taylor and Nice Job Mate. Nice Job Mate is championship. Person he's battling with for the championship is right behind Tom Taylor, so he'll be looking to get past both of them.
Man, this is really shaping up to be something. Poppy 1195 on the way to make VFL history by being the only VFL driver to win one round before the end, or to win not on the final round of the championship, or even to win the championship in any track other than Interlagos. Because Nice Job Mate is right behind him, only a few feet separate the two drivers. What's interesting is, if you haven't already noticed, Tom Taylor has 6 seconds worth of penalties. He's been extending track limits like crazy. Just quickly checking how many warnings Poppy 1195 has received, and the answer is none. And Nice Job
Impressive.
Mate, that's interesting. He's received 3 warnings on lap 1 but hasn't received a penalty.
I can imagine that it will be collision warnings.
Yes, that is actually very true. So we don't know how many warnings will be due to track limits, but it could be probably 1, maybe 2.
Maybe 3 in the games being a game, being Codemasters.
Maybe it's just being F1
Perhaps.
2021. Man,
That is a very reoccurring sentence there.
yeah, F1 2021 just being F1. Look, Scruff has just dived into the pits, and he clouts his wing on the pit entry. I must admit, I've done that so many times in Grand Prix mode. I've ended up going... You don't understand how tight that corner is.
I do, especially when it's in the wet. And
yes.
You want to...
And look, they're replacing his wing.
Wow.
Oh, no, they're not. That is a lie. I do apologise.
It isn't reduced damage, so I don't think he would have had a lot of damage. And looking at his wing, it doesn't look bruised at all. But I think he's serving his penalty, which is...
It's very smart, serving you 5 seconds under safety car. It's only worth about 2 seconds. And of course you may say, well, he could just finish the race with a 5-second time penalty. In fact, talking about 5 seconds, Phil Donald gets one for contacting or hitting to the back of Kevin Kearney.
I think the AI of Kevin Kearney is definitely making some moves that he shouldn't be doing, the AI.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if some... although it does say that he is now in the race, so I'm unsure about what's happening.
I don't think it is the AI, like the way that his wheels moving and everything. It's not quite...
It could be connectivity issues. But have you noticed it, boy? Look at the sky.
Yes. Wow, this is really early for the rain. So yeah, what I was just about to say is, the reason why people are serving their 5-second time penalties now is because I can guarantee every single one of these drivers will be boxing for the Inters before the end of the race. Well, then again, I say that. I'm not too sure what's going to happen now, Dark. Honestly, anything could happen. You see, a lot of drivers have actually been messaging me, and they've been saying, you tell us, Carl, that the rain is going to come on like lap 19 or lap 20 out of 22. Would you recommend staying out for 2 laps? And I say to them, I really don't recommend it. I mean, look at Lando Norris in Russia.
Exactly.
A lot of drivers are going to do
in
that.
a heartbeat. That is so
Man,
true.
it is so tough, especially around Belgium, to string 2 laps together. 2 laps in Belgium are like 4 laps around any other track.
Crawling around,
honestly,
especially because Belgium is, I think it's the longest.
Yeah,
track
it
on the
is
calendar.
the longest track on the calendar, and you're going to be going so slow. It is just faster to pit. Another thing that's really interesting is I do think the rain will come earlier, maybe lap 17 or 18. But when the rain came on lap 19, for me, it never went to full wet conditions. Safety car in this lap. So I'll make this quick.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, if the rain starts on lap 17, we may see full wet conditions on the final lap. And then the question will be whether you go for full wets right at the beginning, or whether you go on inters and then wets, or whether you brave the wets out until the end of the Grand Prix. You're going to be sliding all over the place.
Yeah. Not to interrupt, but here we go for the restart, and someone has already spun by the looks of things.
Kevin Keone. Oh no, there is a big spin. That's actually somebody else. I'm not too sure. Oh, Phil Donald.
And Kevin Keone has been disqualified.
Oh, for ignoring the drive-through.
Oh, and the disqualified car is just smashed into the back of Gooders.
Oh no. Oh, honestly, I cannot believe that. Hang on, Tom Taylor. Real quick, he's making a move on Poppy 1195 into Lecom. They're about a car's length behind.
Oh, he doesn't go for the dive on
there. He doesn't go for it, but Tristan is around the outside of MOC, but he doesn't make the move. And MOC on these softs, he's so quick compared to Nice Job Mate. Is he going to make a dive bomb into Rivage? And he does. He brakes very early, and look at the amount of pace that he's got. He's a man on a mission right now.
There you go.
And the rain has started. Dark, if you look at the sky, if you look at the dark patch, the rain's already starting extremely early, meaning we probably will see full wet conditions before the end of the race. Man, MOC, he's a man on a mission right now, and I think he made the right choice to box for softs and be in P3, because he's all over the back of Tom Taylor, and I'm not too sure whether the track is already starting to get slippery and greasy, but these drivers are all over the place right now. Tristan, only 1/10 of a second behind Nice Job Mate, around Stavelo.
Gearbox.
Literally, his wing is up his gearbox. MOC going really slow around Stavelo. He actually
I think he's purposely holding up Nice Job Mate.
That is a bit naughty. But that has allowed Tom Taylor to just be right behind Poppy 1195, heading into the bus stop.
Oh no!
Let's see if he makes a move.
Tristan was forced onto the grass by Nice Job Mate. It's now been overtaken by 3 cars now.
Tom Taylor brakes early into the bus stop. Poppy braking late. I think Tom Taylor's hoping for a better exit, but unfortunately he doesn't get a better exit. It's United 199 side by side with Nice Job Mate. He does get a better exit on those softs, and he's taken P4. And he makes a dive bomb move into last source on MOC. And did you see that? Poppy and Tom Taylor, our 2 race leaders, are side by side. And Poppy 1195, did you see that? He just broke heading into Eau Rouge, and he just let Tom Taylor through. He just doesn't want to risk his championship.
Does he have DRS into this corner?
No, DRS hasn't started.
It's not enabled just yet.
Yeah, but
look very safe.
How close the rest of the drivers are. I mean, United 199, he may actually be making a move on MOC. Yes, he does. He's around the outside.
Wow. Huge battle pack.
MOC. But yeah, you're right. Tristan, all over the back of Lemkis. And any moves heading into Rivage? Unfortunately not. I mean, when do you think these drivers will be boxing for Inters? Phil Donald, in fact, is the first driver who does box for Inters.
I have no clue how it feels like they're on track, but I can definitely imagine it being slightly more greasy than it is now. And especially for those people in the older tyres, they're going to be slipping around the track as we just watch.
Oh, hang on. Lemkis has almost lost it around Pouon then. This track is so greasy. Yeah, around Pouon especially. The track is just so greasy. Honestly, these drivers are really driving on the edge right now. One mistake and Tom Taylor, who's actually leading this race by 1 second, may end up losing it. Look through Stavelo. I think he is going to lose it. He's had to brake around Stavelo because that is just how greasy it is. and that is
Oh
allowed
no,
Poppy
Tristan
11.99.
almost loses it. Watching his throttle trace, he is not confident on that throttle.
No, not at all. Lemkis has actually gone down the inside of him. This lap, drivers are going to be boxing. And obviously, Poppy was right to not box this entire race and drag it right to the very end. Will this be a Ferrari double stack? MOC completely brakes way too late and ends up almost hitting into his Ferrari teammate. And both Ferrari drivers do double stack. In fact, they almost make contact into the pit lane. And Lemkis has actually just lost his wing going into the pit lane. But
Tristan
as it stands,
forced Lemkis into the pit lane wall. There.
As it stands right now in the pit lane, it's a race in the pit lane, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Taylor, Poppy, MOC, Tristan, Lemkis, and Nice Job Mate. Nice Job Mate comes out on the Inters. They're all boxing for the Inters, but is that the right call, Dart? Because it's going to be full wets before the end of this race.
I definitely think that the rain will turn into full wets before the end of this race, but what
yeah,
was
Pantalon
not a
UK
call.
has gone for full wets. You see, he could end up winning this race.
He could, but MOC has double stacked with Poppy. I think he should have stayed out for one more
lap.
lap.
Oh, hang on, Scottish just lost it on the exit and has unfortunately been auto-reset to track. That wasn't his fault, so I wouldn't penalise him, but Scuff loses it on the pit exit.
For sure, I'll definitely ask for evidence there, but
let's just
two drivers now on the wets.
Yeah, real quick, the United 199, he's round Rivage right now, he's the only driver to pit. You're quite right, Pantalon UK and Gooders are both on the full wets because they know that the rain is going to get much worse. I cannot believe that. United 199, 17 seconds ahead, and just look at that delta. He's losing about a second a corner right now.
Yeah, he definitely didn't feel like it was time for Inters, but it definitely is now, and you can see through the delta, he's losing that time.
Yeah, going through late fan, such a tough corner, I wouldn't be surprised if this is where he loses it.
Not even 100 miles per hour through there.
Yeah, and Stavilo as well, very tricky corner.
The only saving grace. Seconds.
Yeah, so the only saving grace for the United 199 is that he boxes for the wets straight away. Honestly, look how slow he is through Stavilo.
If you were in his position, would you box for the wets or the Inters?
Box for the wets. He's going to come out around P8, P9 at this point. There's nothing to lose. I'd box for the wets because I'm confident it's going to be full wet conditions and it's really going to catch out drivers like Poppy, who I don't think are going to pit. They're going to be on the Inters on the final couple of laps and they might even DNF. It's going to be that bad. Honestly.
Look how much time the United one has lost to Tom Taylor. It was like 18-20 seconds, now 12 seconds.
Wow, this really is something. And also, look at the amount of time that Pantalon UK...
Oh, Tom Taylor's in the pits!
Again! Tom Taylor has decided to box. I'm not too sure whether he's going on the wets. Maybe he's going on the wets early. Do you think he's sliding around on these Inters? I'm spectating him. Lemkis is also in the pits. I'm quickly spectating. Hang on, Tristan and Nice Job Mate are side by side. So, he does go on the wets, I do believe. Yeah, so he has gone onto the wets, but Nice Job Mate is side by side with Tristan. Oh no, Tristan does get ahead. Yes, you're quite right. Tom Taylor on the wet compound. Maybe that is just how bad the tyres are going. Lemkis doesn't go on the wets. He's
Nice Job Mate coming back at Tristan down the inside.
Yeah, you're right. On the run down to Lake Com, who is going to end up getting the lead? It's Nice Job Mate on the inside, and he's ended up losing it. Tristan did not leave any room. He's knocked his wing around Lecom. He was on the inside, Tristan on the outside. He didn't leave any room on the inside. Clouted into the side of Nice Job Mate, and that has led to Nice Job Mate losing 5 positions and a front wing. I can almost guarantee you'll have a bit of damage. That is absolute carnage.
That is huge for the championship as well. Now it's down to the United one to make sure Poppy does not seal off this championship.
Yeah, United 199. Again, we thought that he was going to come out around P10. He's only in P3. That's just how large the gap is between the drivers now in these terrible conditions. And that track is just getting wetter and wetter. I mean, just spectating Scruff, it looked like the rear was stepping out on him. Even though he's on the Inters, I actually think it's going to be full wet weather in a couple of laps.
I do not think it is full weather yet, as there's no standing water, which is the key indicator. However, you're totally right, the track is not looking very nice to drive on right now.
And look, the drivers who are on full wets, look at Tom Taylor. I think their tyres have overheated so much. Look at him, he's understeering around Les Fans like crazy. All of the drivers are going ridiculously slow on these wets. Maybe the Inters are the right call.
The Inters for now are the right call, but I can imagine the last few laps they're going to switch on.
Absolutely.
Will it be enough for Tom Taylor to close 3-4 second gap? I don't think so.
What, do you think it's a wet weather or perhaps not?
I think it will be into weather until the very last lap. Oh, Nice Job Mate, it's actually boxed.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he would have damage from that collision with Tristan.
You're quite right.
He's now running in P2.
Yeah, I mean, we can see the speed difference. sorry. Yeah, if you just... Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, that's of course. Yeah, if you look at Pantalon UK real quick, he's on the full wets. And, yeah, look, he couldn't even take Blanchimont flat. I think it's oversteering like crazy. Tom Taylor picking up a 3
side by side with J and B there, who goes wildly wide. He's in a different postcode right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so what were you going to say about the weathers?
I was going to say, I don't think it will be completely wet until like probably the last lap. So the people on the Inters have probably got a better chance of winning, because Tom Taylor is 16 seconds behind Scruff, and he's got to close that in 3 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these drivers are going to be boxing, and it's about a 30-second box. And that means that Tom Taylor may even come out around P3. But that is the question. It is really full wet conditions. I mean, you can tell due to just how quick the rain's coming down. I mean, look how much spray. If you spectate Tristan, it's like he's in a war zone right now with the amount of spray that's coming off Poppy 1195.
Yeah, as I said, it was probably starting to become fully wet now as you look at the track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at how much rain's falling down as well. You get the odd spit here and there on Inters, but I think it's full wet, or at least it will be full wet by the end of lap 20, because the rain is really hammering down, and it may be tactical for a driver like Poppy to box early and go on the full wets. I mean, they're not right now. They really are braving it out there.
Or do you not box? Because if you look at the delta between the wets and intermediates from calm, he's lost 4 seconds in the past, 3 corners even.
Yeah.
So, not right now, but it is becoming increasingly difficult. However, if I was Poppy right now, I would stay out and try my hardest not to lose it. Just keep that P1 position, because this is his best and only chance to secure this championship. And I would also say the same for United One, to perhaps stay in contention for the championship.
Only 3 laps remaining, ladies and gentlemen. If an incident does occur, a safety car is not going to be called with such little race time left. So far, we've got... Oh, hang on, there's a bit of a battle happening in the midfield. Gooders is completely...
If you want to see the difference between the wets and the intermediates, watch Tom Taylor and Lemkes.
Yeah, but... Oh yeah, you're quite right. Look, Tom Taylor's really struggling on those wets, but also Gooders ended up having a bit of a crash into the back of J&G. I mean, the wet drivers are so slow at the moment compared to the inter runners that they're almost a bit of a hazard. Sector 2, there's just been... And that is Scruff. Scruff has ended up losing it on the entry to No Name, the exit of Rivage, and he's lost his wing, I do believe. Damage. Yeah, he's just hit into No Name... the wall as well, and yeah, that is unfortunate. I think that is the indication that it's full wet conditions.
This could be huge. MOC is looking to overtake United One, and if he does so, this could be huge for Poppy.
Yeah, you're quite right. I think that Poppy 1195 has pretty much got this championship victory sealed right now in P1.
Who has the fastest lap currently?
It is Tristan with a 146.985. Man, this is crazy.
That is very interesting.
No drivers are boxing for the full wets once again. Almost feel bad for suggesting to box for the wets. I feel like Tom Taylor may have listened to my commentary.
Yeah. But MOC is right next to United, well, he was, but now stretched out half a second. Let's see how much he really closing in the braking distance. MOC has far more confidence.
Turns out it's still brakes. Yeah, it turns out it still isn't going to be full wet conditions, and we've only got 2 laps remaining, but it's 2 incredibly long laps. Right now, Poppy 1195 will go ahead to win the championship, I'm almost certain, and become...
Yeah, I've actually got the Excel sheet up right now, and if, no matter what happens now, Poppy 1195 will win, 1195 will win the Tier 2 Drivers' Champion. The title.
Scruff boxing for another set of intermediates after losing it on the exit of Rivage. That puts him all the way down to P8. But yeah, like I was saying, Poppy 1195, he is on course to become the Tier 2 champion and be the first VFL driver to win before the end of the season. We've got a yellow flag, and that's Pantalon UK on the wet tyre. He ends up losing it around the bus stop chicane, and his tyres are on fire right now. He ends up losing it again and punting his wing, and that is unfortunate. The 2 Alpine drivers, P13 and P14, I mean, yeah, very unfortunate.
Indeed, I'm currently watching MSC and United, a monumental battle here. of whoever can stick to the track the best, and it's looking quite good for both MSC and United One, quite very equal throughout the entire lap. However, I do think
yellow flag
United
sector 2, and that was Pantalon UK. No, it wasn't. It was the other Alpine driver, Pudnik. He gets a 10-second time penalty.
MSC's making a move on United One to the bus which came round the outside.
Pantalon
Can he
UK
make it
has
stick?
DNF'd.
Uses all the track.
Yeah, there's a
leaves
bit of
space.
contact between the two drivers. They're squeezing each other right up to the wall.
Clean as far
Donald
as I
just
can tell.
overtook Tom Taylor. Yeah,
Ooh,
MOC
United
kind
One
of
looking for a better exit out of turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does it pay off?
MOC kind of cutting across
No, it
United
does
there
not.
just before the braking zone. We're on the final lap of the race and it still isn't full wet conditions. I don't know what's happening with the weather system today, ladies and gentlemen. And man, did you see how much United had to break up Eau Rouge and Radion then?
I
with
did.
dirty
but
air and no
United
grip.
One has, despite that having a better exit, more ERS
Yeah.
going around the outside of MOC. Can he make it stick? There's a bit of contact. Clean so far, wheel banging.
J&G has just DNF'd on the run down to the bus stop chicane on the final lap of the race. But yeah, you're quite right. They're banging wheels quite a bit, and it looks like MOC has retained his P3. But look at Tristan. He's only 0.4 of a second behind Poppy. And it seems like Tristan's got nothing to lose right now. He wants the glory of winning a Tier 2 race. And he's not really fighting for a championship. I wonder if Tristan's just going to give it absolutely everything on this final lap and see if he can overtake Poppy 1195. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like he can. On the exit Stavolo, Poppy ends up getting the better exit. And I don't think it's enough.
I'll let you take away the announcement
that's
that
fine.
Poppy will win the championship.
Absolutely. Not much battle between United 199 and MOC. But who cares about that? Ladies and gentlemen, to cross the line in Belgium after an incredible drive. He made the right strategy call after all. It's Poppy 1195, ladies and gentlemen, to become the first ever VFL Tier 2 champion as he crosses the line. With Tristan, a hard-fought P2. And United 199 and MOC, they were battling right up until the final lap. Final corner of the final lap. MOC ends up pipping that P3, the bottom step of the podium for Ferrari, and United 199 in P4. Unfortunately, his teammate Magnus Ferk DNFing and finishing in P15 means that Ferrari have all but guaranteed the championship. But what is a guarantee? And it's already written in the history books. Poppy 1195 wins the first ever Tier 2 World Championship here in VFL and becomes the first ever VFL driver to win one race before the final one. Wow. I wonder if he'll turn up to the race in Brazil.
I wonder if he will, because there's still a Constructors' Championship to win. However, congratulations to Poppy. Hard fought battle from the other drivers as well. Unfortunate for the nice job maybe, however he has had a fantastic season, finishing in P2, United 1 finishing in P3. That rounds out your top 3, which I've inputted the points for.
Yes, absolutely. Man, that really was an incredible race. It was kind of drama right from the get-go, especially with that massive incident caused between MF Underboss and Justino. And then we had multiple safety cars. We had a great qualifying as well. And those safety cars just meant that the rain came earlier than expected. And it seems like I recommended the wrong strategy call. It didn't turn into full wets in the end. And Tom Taylor, for example, he was actually doing quite well. I think he was in the top 5. He ended up boxing for wets, thinking that it would turn wet. And it didn't. He ended up finishing around P10.
And
right
another thing I must mention is that Ferrari now take over the lead of the championship by roughly 18 to 21 points.
Wow.
Heading into Brazil.
Yeah, that is quite a significant margin heading into the final race. Man, I'm just kind of reading all the notifications after that race. It really was something. You've already made
a spectacular drive from Poppy, showing what he can do amongst everyone else.
Man, you've already made the announcement. It's official, ladies and gentlemen. The Tier 2 VFL Drivers Champion, the first ever, is Poppy 1195. And you haven't applied his role yet. Quickly apply his role.
I am doing it right now. It's happening. Tier 2 Drivers Champion. Congratulations.
We have to invite Poppy to the chat.
Running down the order though, quickly. P1 you have your Tier 2 Drivers Champion, we have Tristan in P2, MOC in P3, United 1 P4, P5 we have Lem 1K KSS,
Yeah.
P6 we have Phil Donald, Scuff A in P7, Infamous Aim in P8, good result from him, Tom Taylor in P9, P10 we have Nice Job Mate, 11 have Gutters, Pudnick in P12, JNG in P13, Pantheon UK in P14, and the game will not let me say anything else.
Oh, that is so sad. Man, I'm not actually too sure who exactly to suggest. Oh man, I've just noticed that a couple of people asked for this strategy like 5 minutes before the race, and unfortunately I didn't see the notification, or at least I forgot
Sick boy.
to actually give the Sick Boy Super strategy to MF Underboss and Gooders as well, so that is unfortunate. I was just trying to think who else we should invite to the post-race interview. Maybe Tristan. I don't think Poppy.
I think MOC would be a good one. Maybe even Nice Job Mate, who was unfortunately lost out on the title.
Yeah, we'll quickly invite Tristan and maybe even Tom Taylor as well if Poppy 1195.
And make sure that you are on the game so people can hear.
Oh yes, absolutely. Man, I hate that. Such a terrible glitch. Tom Taylor has joined. It seems like Poppy 1195 isn't going to join. I guess he doesn't want to release his voice, reveal his voice, one race before the end. Man, even so, Tom Taylor, he joins the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations on... Well, I just said congratulations. I actually still think I'm talking to Poppy, honestly. I mean, what can I say about that race? I mean, it seemed like it was all on the cards. You were battling with MOC for pretty much the entire race. It looked like a podium was all but guaranteed. And then, unfortunately, it did look like you kind of made the wrong strategy call. The strategy call that I recommended, to be fair. Went on the wets, and you just had no grip on those wets for the final 5 laps. I mean, talk me through it. What kind of happened?
So, through the first 3 laps, I got, like, too many penalties for pretty much nothing. And then I got lots of warnings when someone spun out because I was trying to avoid them, so I don't know if I can get that removed. But and then when it got down to the wets, where you and Dark were like, it's going to be wet really soon, I pit to, like, try gain time, and my tyres were very, very, very hot for the rest of the race.
Oh, dear. I actually feel quite bad for recommending it. I did truly think that the rain would end up getting, you know, full wet conditions right at the very end, but unfortunately not. And I mean, yeah, kind of unfortunate. How was that battling with MOC though throughout the race? It almost seemed like MOC was playing the defensive role and he was being a bit of a barricade between you and Poppy. So how difficult was it to battle with him and overtake him?
Well, it was very difficult to get by him, obviously, since he wasn't going to give it up easily, since I think Nice Job was behind me too, and obviously Nice Job and Poppy have their own battle. But, yeah, he wanted the podium with Poppy. I think they really wanted that one too. Because I think they can win Constructors still. I don't... Can they win Constructors?
Yeah, what, Williams?
No, Ferrari.
Ferrari
have taken the lead of the championship by a good old 20 points, I believe.
Yeah, that sucks.
That was due to a very unfortunate result for Williams with Magnus Ferk DNFing, and then it was a pretty decent result for the United 199. So yeah, Ferrari end up leading, Williams in P2, and Alfa Romeo in P3. So
are we like P4? Mercedes,
I'm not too sure actually.
Last time I saw.
Mercedes, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we're in P4, I'm not going to be happy with you, Tom.
Me and Scruff, the bottle jobs.
Yeah, you're right. P4, honestly, that is shocking. We're only 12 points from Mercedes, and to be fair, Phil Donald, I'm not actually too sure how Phil Donald performed in that race. I don't know what I'm picking on Phil Donald for.
He got disqualified, didn't he?
Oh no, that was Kevin Kearney.
Disqualified.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
But I mean, that was congratulations on a well-fought race. Unfortunately, you weren't able to be on that podium in the end, but good luck next season when you're in Tier 1. But handing it over to the man himself, who will definitely be in Tier 1 next season. Congratulations, Poppy 1195, on the Tier 2 Championship.
Cheers, man. Oh, that was a good race as well. Very good race.
Yeah, it seemed like it was literally going your way. I mean, qualifying wasn't actually too good. What position did you start? It was like P3, P4?
I think I started P2, but had a shocking start in the race. Very bad start. I was like P5 starting lap 2, so I was kind of a bit like, oh no, what am I doing?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like you really made... Yeah, exactly. It seemed like you really made the best strategy call, not boxing at all, and using the same lap of mediums all the way up until the rain hit on around lap 17, 18. Did you think that the mediums were going to last, or was there at one point in which you thought, oh no, I might get puncture?
I think I pitted, my mediums were on like 50, so the 3 safety cars we had basically set it. I think after the second one I knew it was like, oh, this is fine, this is perfect, I can take these mediums towards the inters and just play out the inters. The only other worry I had at that point was whether I have to pit for wets, whether it would get that bad that I would have to put wets on like lap 21 or something, but no, it was perfect, fine enough to stay on inters, so I managed to just take it home.
Wow. I mean, I think we've already applied it to you, but it means that your name's in gold now for the rest of the next season. So congratulations on the win.
Yes, that's quite nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be stolen from me, unfortunately, which is a shame.
Now I've made a separate role for Tier 2 Drivers' Champion, don't you worry, City Boy. Yours won't be gone just yet.
Yeah, so, I mean, congratulations to Poppy. That was an absolutely incredible finish at the end.
Fantastic, that was... What a way to win the championship, that's fantastic.
Very good way
Congratulations.
to win it.
Yeah,
Cheers.
Congratulations. We'll quickly pan it over to Tristan because he's been extremely patient, waiting in this chat the entire time. And, yeah, I mean, that was a really, really well-fought race. You ended up getting the P2 right at the very end, but it didn't look that way from the beginning of the race. Kind of talk me through what happened.
When are we talking about? Because a lot of stuff happened that race.
I mean, first of all, qualifying. Where did you end up qualifying?
P3, so it wasn't bad. It was actually quite good for me.
Not too bad, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was in front for the first safety car, and then I pitted when the second safety car came out, I think, or it was a VSC, and I went on to mediums. I could have gone on to another set of softs, but I wanted to play it safe just in case there wasn't another safety car, and then I got puncture, and then it would...
Yes, exactly. I mean, I just checked the stream, and you ended up coming out like P7, and then you ended up finishing in P4, so quite a hard fought end. Was that on the inters? Did you just have so much pace compared to everybody else in the wet?
I think United one stayed out for one more lap, which lost him like 10 seconds. He stayed out one more lap on the slicks. And then I'm pretty sure Mock pitted.
Yeah.
He pitted like a lap before the second safety car came out.
Yeah.
And then it went straight to wets pretty much like a lap after, so...
Wow. I mean, it seemed like a really, really well-fought victory. You ended up taking, the middle step of the podium. And, yeah, congratulations to you, but a final congratulations to Poppy1195. Just to say it one more time, he is the Tier 2 champion, and I'm sure will be racing in Tier 1 next season. So congratulations. But anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. What an incredible race that was. A great season finale in Belgium. And next week, same place, same time, 8 o'clock on a Sunday evening, we're going to be in Interlagos for the final race of the Tier 2 Championship, where the Constructors' Champion will be decided. This final minute battle between Ferrari and Williams, and the two drivers will end up receiving gold names as well, so it'll be interesting to see.
I was going to say, don't go anywhere, because that is definitely true. The Constructors are not yet wrapped up, so make sure to watch the final. Tier 1 is on Thursday for the final.
Yes, but to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching VFL, and we'll see you next week.